Entitled Mom Tries to Take My Game Console for Her Son, from user Grodes16. After that, principal proves she is a Karen and gets in trouble with the school board, from user Zelda Spell Factory. And then we'll be wrapping up with Entitled Mom and Entitled Dad Destroy Stadium Seats. Try to make me give their beloved little brat my seat, from user Beanster9886. Thank you to our posters for letting us read your stories, and if you would like us to read your stories next, please submit them to the r/Mr. Reddit subreddit. And if you're new, please subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories every single day. Entitled Mom Tries to Take My Game Console for Her Son. My dad wanted a one-of-a-kind retro console that didn't exist anymore. I found one on Craigslist, and I made the trade in a cafe. Then a mom and her son came over to check it out. This story takes place a few years ago in a mall quite far from my hometown. A little backstory. My dad loves everything retro. He is always blasting old music, quoting old movies, but most of all, he loves old retro video games. He talked a lot about this off-brand gaming console his dad got him as a kid, and at the time, he didn't understand it was cheap and off-brand, but he loved it so much. Since he was young and the console was not Nintendo, Sega, or a well-known company like that, he didn't remember the name of it and couldn't find it at any store, even with the description he gave. I, like my father, love video games. I mostly play new, next-gen games, but I still appreciate the old stuff. I wanted to buy either an Xbox or PS4. Either one I bought was gonna be so expensive, and I wanted to get one cheap. I decided to use Craigslist, and I searched up video game console just to see which console I could get a better price for. While scrolling through, I noticed some retro stuff, and I got to thinking maybe someone was selling the console my dad said he had as a kid. When I typed in the description, there it was. Someone had posted one that fit his description exactly. The guy was selling it for about $75. I messaged the guy and he seemed pretty nice. We planned to meet at this mall near his town that was about a 45-minute drive away. He told me he wasn't sure all the cords and stuff were there, and at the mall I could buy a wire if I needed one. I got to the mall and we set up the console in a cafe next to a GameStop. We set it up, it works great, and we make the deal. I'm not sure if this is the exact one my dad asked for, even though it was exactly what he described, but I knew he would be happy nonetheless. Before I started packing it up, I wanted to play a little. This is where the entitled mom of the story and her 8 or so year old son came up to me. The kid notices the game I was playing and said it looked really fun. Entitled Mom noticed me playing and walked over. Entitled Mom: "Hey, what game are you playing? It looks fun." Me: "Oh, I'm not sure. I just bought this console." Entitled Mom: "How much was it?" "Well, I paid $75. "Awesome! Did you get it at this GameStop?" She motions toward the store right next to us. I was getting weird vibes, even though nothing weird had happened in our conversation. "No, they probably don't sell it there. I got it from someone else." She got an angry look on her face. "Who did you buy it from?" "I got it off Craigslist." "Not where? From who?" "Why do you need to know?" She did not like that. "Listen, I want to buy my son a console for his birthday, but the new ones are all just too expensive. We have been to 3 different stores, and everything costs $300 or more, which is just crazy for a single parent to afford. I wouldn't expect a kid like you to understand. Now, tell me who the person you bought it from was, and give me their number. I want to see if they are selling another one." At this point, I just want out of this whole conversation. I wouldn't want the person who sold me this console to give my number out to random people, so I'm not going to give entitled mom his number. I start packing up the console and keep the conversation going until all my stuff is packed so I can leave the cafe and get out of there. Me. I don't think he has any more to sell. I used Craigslist to find one, so if you just open your phone and, "What are you doing with the console?" I'm just putting it away. "Listen, let me just buy it from you. I need to get my son a gift, and I don't have much time." She takes a step closer, and I start to scoot backwards because I don't want anything to happen to the gift, and I hate when people are too close to me. It gives me anxiety. So when she grabs my arm, and I immediately pull away out of fear, letting go of the game. She grabs the game and moves it to the other end of the cafe table so I can't reach it. "Listen, I will pay you for it. My son's birthday was a few days ago, and so I need this gift right now. I'm running out of time, so just listen to me." She pulls out her wallet, and I realize if I don't start being aggressive, she might take off with my dad's present. I stand up and reach to the other end of the table. Me. "Maybe you should have planned on getting a gift before your son's birthday, instead of trying to steal one from a stranger." She then snatches the system from my hands and hands it to her son behind her so I can't get a hold of it. "I'm not stealing it. I will pay you what I got for it." She forces 2 20s and a dollar bill into my hand and then goes over to my bag to get the controllers and wires I had already put away. At this point, I'm furious. She is trying to pay me less than what I just paid for a console that they don't make anymore. And judging by the fact the Craigslist post was up for 6 months with no competition, it was safe to assume this was the only way I could get this console for my dad's birthday. I go to the kid and take it back from him. I did it a little aggressively because everything was happening so fast and I panicked. The second I took the console back, the kid started crying, and now the entire cafe was watching. The mom spun her head around, saw her kid and her new audience of people. "Why are you stealing my son's game?" She dropped the controllers and she ran over to her crying kid. Later, I found out that one controller cracked when it fell. Me. "It's mine, not yours. I paid you for it, so now it's mine. Either you give me my money back, or you can't have it." I pointed to the money she tried to give me that I placed on the table. "Take it. I never agreed to give it to you, so now I'm going to take my stuff and leave." "No, it's now my son's console." I could tell she was about to do something like call thief when another customer chimed in, saying something like, "Lady, it's not yours." Entitled mom looked at all the faces staring at her. I assume she came to her senses because she picked up her son and just left. I grabbed everything, put it in my bag, and scurried away as fast as I could. To finish my end of the story, I went back home and wrapped the gift. At his birthday, I gave it to my dad, and he was so happy he cried. I got the right one. He was so ecstatic I found the right one, and the only time I had ever seen him happier was in videos of his wedding day and my birth. I didn't get my own gift, but seeing my dad's face when he saw that I had gotten him a gift and I had listened and cared about him was worth more than any game or console I could buy. I think it's important that I say something about this whole experience. When I talked to this mom, I didn't see a nasty, evil, one-dimensional demon who was just the scum of the earth. This mom was in a frantic panic, and when she said I stole her son's console, I think she truly believed she was trying to do the right thing for her son. Not that this is any reason for behavior like this, but in the moment, I wasn't able to see that this was a person who was a single mother just trying to find a game she could afford and would make her son happy. In life, it's important to remember that everyone has their own story, and it's important to remember in the end we are all human even though some people don't act like it sometimes. I hope I don't run into her or anyone like that again, but I do wish the mom found a gift for her son and they were able to celebrate his birthday happily, just like I got to with my dad. Next we've got Principal proves she is a Karen and gets in trouble with school board. This happened years ago, so I will paraphrase any dialogue. I will use NP for new principal. When I was a junior in high school, we got a new principal. The old principal was widely respected and told the school board that he was not sure that their choice for his replacement was a good idea. He always knew what was going on anywhere and knew she was a Karen. I had classes with the new principal's daughter for years before this. The daughter was a slacker who mostly got good grades because her mother would bully teachers to change the earned grade to a higher grade. I was a photographer for our yearbook and newspaper all during high school. The school had a great dark room that I spent hours in. Most of this time was before or after school. The janitor got to know me, and I brought him cookies or a piece of cake when I brought them to a class for a party or whatever, and gave me a set of keys to the school gates and the doors I needed to open to get to the dark room. He got tired of trying to roust me and my friends out of the dark room when he wanted to leave but had to lock up. The gate couldn't be set to open from the inside and lock behind you, so someone had to actually lock it. The dark room and the small office next to it that we used for retouching photos shared a wall with the principal's office. You could get up into the ceiling tiles by standing on the desk, or at least I could with my under 5 foot tall person. This wall was super thin, so we could eavesdrop on whatever the principal was talking about. That room came in handy. One of the seniors on the yearbook kept bottles of booze up in the ceiling. She had a drinking problem, and her parents searched her room and car, so she used the school instead. One day, she commented that she was not the only one keeping bottles of booze up there. Someone was keeping much more expensive bottles in the ceiling, but they were not over our dark room or office. I checked, and the bottles were pretty expensive. I recognized quite a few of them. We assumed they were nice principals, as none of us would leave an expensive or moderately expensive bottle of booze up there, especially not one that needed to be refrigerated after opening, like the Baileys. That evening was a Friday, so we got the bottles down and had a bit of a party. We put the leftovers back as there were only 3 of us, me and my 2 best friends, and none of us were big drinkers. On Monday, we had a deadline, so we spent most of the day in the dark room and office. Right after the principal took lunch, we heard scrabbling up in the ceiling. We knew she was getting into her booze. She was often drunk when she was a counselor at the high school the year before. It was not a big secret. Then we hear her muttering about stupid kids drinking her medicine. She went out and through the thicker walls into a main part of the office. We could hear her screaming about someone stealing her medicine. The office aides were all either kiss-ups or athletes, and in nice principal's mind, none of them would take her booze/medicine. They would never drink as they went to church every Sunday and were good kids. Keep in mind that most of them were hard drinkers at parties. I had more drunk shenanigans photos of these guys than of most of the kids in my school. After yelling in the office for a while, with the rest of the staff trying to shush her, principal comes into the journalism room. This was long before smartphones and surveillance cameras in school, but we usually had a camera set up to record video ready to go. Whenever nice principal bothered herself to come into the journalism room, we usually recorded her because she could be completely ridiculous. Principal: I need you to tell me who got into my medicine. I keep it over the ceiling tiles so that it won't get taken by anyone else. Teacher: I have no idea what you are talking about. If you take medicine, why do you keep it in your office ceiling tiles? That is crazy. Why not keep a day's worth in your purse? That would make far more sense, and no one could get into it. At this point, our teacher had no clue that she was talking about bottles of liquor. Principal: The bottles don't fit in my purse. I buy big bottles because it is cheaper. Besides, I cannot pull out a bottle at a meeting or have someone hear them clink in my purse. I would get fired. Teacher: How can they fire you for medicine? That makes no sense. And medicine comes in unbreakable bottles if it's prescription. They are usually plastic, so how would they clink? Principal: I don't have time to explain this. I have a parent meeting in 10 minutes. If my medicine is not replaced, I will suspend everyone in this program. Teacher: How would you do that? Why are you picking on my students? I don't think your aides would like it if we had to put all of their photos, especially not your daughter. Don't threaten me. I will have your job for speaking to me like this. Go for it. This recording of you having a shrieking fit will likely deal with that. You make no sense, and I don't even know what you are raving about. They had a party on school grounds using my alcohol. What alcohol? Why are you keeping alcohol on school grounds? You can be arrested for keeping it where students can get into it. You just fired a teacher who had a bottle of mouthwash in his desk because it wasn't alcohol-free. Are you saying your medicine is alcohol? Have you lost your mind? New principal, finally realizing that we have a camera aimed at her and that it is recording. You cannot take video of me with the school's equipment. That violates my rights. Give me that camera, now. It is school property, so you must. Teacher: Actually, it isn't school's property. School wouldn't buy one, so a parent loaned us this one. If you break it, you replace it. The parent is upset with you as it is. No parent would do that. No parent is upset with me. Your kid just got caught shoplifting and blamed the stuff in her own purse on the girl she was with, the girl whose parents loaned us the camera. So don't go touching that unless you want a lawsuit. We all know you made a deal to blame Stacy, not her real name, rather than your daughter, even though Stacy didn't have anything in her purse, and video shows your daughter putting it in her own purse. I am sure that Stacy's lawyer is going to love this video. You can't record me without permission. I never gave you permission, so you can't give that recording to Stacy or her lawyer. There is a sign on the door that says entering the room is giving permission to be recorded. So yes, we can record you. You approved the sign yourself. I am the principal. If I want that recorder, I can take it. I am taking it. By this point, she is shrieking. Teacher: No, you actually cannot. You can leave this room, or I can call the school board right now. Remember, I have been here a lot longer than you have. Don't push this onto my students. New principal leaves the room, still shrieking about thieves. Teacher speaking to the room: If any of you have alcohol above the ceiling tiles, you have until 9 tonight to remove them. I am going to the school board meeting, and afterward, someone will accompany me back here to see the tape and look in the ceiling. Any bottles up there that are not what new principal claims will be fingerprinted. I am sure the school board will call the cops. After school, we got the 3 bags of cheap vodka, mostly cherry if that detail interests you, out of the ceiling and left the principal's bottles and all of the empties she kept up in the ceiling. That evening, the entire school board showed up while we were putting the last details on the school newspaper. They put a new cassette into our video recorder and took video of all of the expensive bottles of booze. Well, more expensive than we could afford, and the many empties new principal left up there. New principal was gone for a month to rehab. After she came back, she couldn't suspend a student or expel one, or even put one on to probation without the school board's permission. They checked the ceiling every month after that, so our cherry vodka drinker found another place to store her booze. The recording of her shrieking about the booze and the teacher mentioning that deal to keep her daughter out of trouble had the school board asking the organization giving the scholarship to reconsider in light of new evidence. Our friend Stacy got the scholarship, and new principal's daughter lost that one. New principal's daughter also lost her other scholarships because now she was tainted. The other groups felt that if she shoplifted and then let her mother make deals to blame a girl who was innocent of the shoplifting, she didn't have good enough morals to represent them. Stacy ended up with 2 of those other scholarships as she was the next choice after new principal's daughter. Principal built a hiding place into the wall between her office and our journalism room. She just put a wall panel out and nailed a board into place between the studs. Then she put the wall panel back and moved a shelf into place to hide it. We cut the wall panel, backing it open, and drank her booze when we felt the desire for the rest of our time in school. New principal had to know it, but she never even came into the journalism room again. We were not big drinkers and never emptied a bottle between us. We had other sources and mostly used this one as an FU to new principal, and she knew it. At one point, we put the video camera into the ceiling and took video of her anytime we heard strange noises from her office. We caught her daughter changing her grades on the school system and new principal hooking up with several teachers. And we heard her blackmailing parents over stuff their kids did that they didn't want the community to hear about. We found this quite amusing from new principal after her holier than thou because I have been to rehab and dedicated my life to God again attitude. At one point, I went over the wall between our office and her office to leave some photos on her desk. She could not figure out how they got on her desk. It didn't occur to her that a very small student, under 5 feet tall and only 80 pounds back then, could go over the wall. It drove her crazy. I think I also left her wall stash open a couple of times. I just opened ours and pushed hers open. This was done purely to mess with her. It drove her crazy. We put a latch on each side of our panel, and it was bigger than new principal's, so she never figured out how it was done. She thought someone came into her office to do it. Yes, our teacher knew most of what we did. She was cool as long as nobody drove drunk and we didn't ever leave messes or fingerprints. She kept white cotton gloves for us to use when handling photos, so there was no excuse for leaving our fingerprints according to her. She had been teaching for over 50 years and we didn't get much by her. When new principal tried keeping other things up in the ceiling, teacher knew. She also knew we took some of it sometimes. Mostly, she kept things she shouldn't have had up there. She also kept money, often up to $1,000. It was money that new principal got from blackmailing people. We heard her threatening them over the phone. She was always very loud, even on the phone, so our teacher didn't care if we messed with new principal. And our final story of the day. Entitled Mom and Entitled Dad destroy stadium seats, try to make me give their beloved little brat my seat. Our cast. We've got me. We've got my brother. We've got my dad. We've got Karen. We've got Karen's husband. We've got Entitled Kid. And we've got some staff member. So, story happened a few years ago, so I may not write everything how it exactly happened. I was 12 to 13, something like that. Me and my 11-year-old by that time brother decided to go to a football match. By football, I mean that sport that Europeans call football, and some other people outside Europe call soccer. Not a league match, FT clubs, as it's very dangerous due to the extreme amount of hooligans throwing firecrackers, etc. But for a national, friendly featuring my country, nothing important really. There wasn't a big competition coming, and the opponent was much worse than our team. So even though national team matches always bring so many fans to the stadium, mostly 8 to 10-year-old kids though, there was still a lot of empty seats. We have reserved our tickets on, I think, the 5th row beside the goal, so a really comfortable view. Our dad came with us. About half an hour before the match started, my dad went to a bathroom and left us alone for a little while. That's when we see Entitled Mom, Entitled Dad, and Entitled Kid. At first, me and my bro didn't think they were going to even talk to us, just that they have reserved seats nearby. We started talking, completely paying zero attention to them, when I felt a tap on my shoulder. Entitled Mom. Hello? Me, confused. Hello? Awkward silence. Entitled Dad. Karen, let's get to the point. They tell us. Would you mind giving us these seats? I was 12 years old at that moment, and I was kind of cowardly. Not really when around someone I knew though. So I managed to say, "Why would we?" Entitled Dad. "Hey young man, be nice. Listen, me, Karen, and our kid have reserved seats up there." Point somewhere to the left. "But since there's a lot of trash and there's a bad view, we would like to sit there." Me. Looks around. There were plenty of people in the same row and lower ones. There were some empty seats, but nowhere near 3 in a row. "But there are plenty of people that might free their seats for you. Why must it be us?" Perfectly realizes that's because they've seen our dad leave. Entitled Kid tried to say something, but Karen shushed him. Karen. "And why not you? You looked so nice, and we thought maybe you would act like it." My brother, a pretty smart kid for his age, trying to just waste time for our dad to come. "We haven't been to a football match ever, and it's my birthday." Was obviously lying, and that was visible. Entitled Dad is angered. "How dare you lie to me like that, you little..." Insert rude term for a kid here. "Give me the seats, now. Besides, where are your tickets? How can I know they're yours?" Me and my brother realized Dad had them, so until he came back, we couldn't get rid of them. Me. "Sir, we're going nowhere. Sorry." Oh boy. Entitled Mom starts screaming. "Security! People without tickets here! Kick them out!" Entitled Dad grabs my brother's seat, tries to do whatever he was going to do. It breaks as it was plastic. The whole stadium is now looking at the situation. Security pulls up. "Excuse me, what's the problem?" Entitled Mom. "These little brats are here without supervision and tickets." I lost my temper. "Then how the heck did we get in?" Security cuts my word. "Hey, calm down, please, young man. Is that true?" My brother is kind of terrified. "Our dad had the tickets in his pockets and went to the bathroom." Entitled Dad. "Not true. Security, stop. Let's wait a while and check out if it's true." Entitled Mom stares at him nervously. Entitled Dad tries to hide the broken seat. Me, remembering about the seat. "Hey mister, could you look down there? This seat is broken, and I think it wasn't before Entitled Dad touched it." Security is looking at it. "Well, are you sure it was not broken before? Or maybe you broke it?" Me. "How could I or my brother break it? I would have needed more space and a hammer." Jokingly, of course. Security. "I'm concerned it may have been broken before." Dad finally comes back from the journey. My dad. "Oh my, excuse me, what happened there?" Security. "I have been reported these kids were here without tickets or supervision." My dad. "Well, I am their dad, and here are the tickets." Pulls them out of his pocket. Security checks them. "Your reaction was completely unreasonable, Mr. Entitled Dad and Mrs. Entitled Mom. You caused unnecessary trouble and tried to commit de facto a fraud. If an incident like this happens again, you will be removed from the stadium area. Where are your seats?" Entitled Dad points to the same area as he did before. "There." "Your tickets, please?" Entitled Dad searches for tickets, finds only Entitled Moms and their kids. "Oh, I must have lost mine." "You had a lot of time to come to the ticket clerk and clarify the situation. Now, as there'll be a match in about 15 minutes, I must ask you to leave this place." They went back. I don't know how the story ended, but my country won the match and we were satisfied, both with the situation ending and the match end result. And shoutouts to our re-generals of the day, Shiba Kobe, Snowcat, Dominic, and KC Cat5. Become tomorrow's re-generals by dropping as many re's as you can in the comments below.